Good morning, geometry students. Because I couldn't be in class with you today to review, I wanted to do a few questions off of your study guide to help you out. Of course, if you have other questions that I don't answer, you can send me a message on Remind, and I can try to help you out with those as well. So, in this video, we're going to start with your study guide question number 1. So it reads, the angle of depression from the top of a sheer cliff to a point A on the ground is 35 degrees. If point A is 250 feet from the base of the cliff, how tall is the cliff? So this is going to be some kind of vertical cliff, and we're going to have point A down here on the ground. Let's see, let me make that look a little better. And it tells us that the angle of depression is 35 degrees. So if you remember, angle of depression is always from the line of sight when you're looking straight out in front of you compared to when you look down at that point. So here's our line of sight going across the top. So our angle of depression would actually be right here outside of the triangle. So remember from alternate interior angles that that would be the same as the angle down here at point A. So we can also put that 35 down in the bottom right hand corner. And it tells us that point A is 280 feet from the base of the cliff. So of course the base of the cliff would be this bottom left hand corner. And so we're going to put 280 feet down here at the bottom. And they want us to find out how tall the cliff is. So our X is going to go over here on the left hand side. So because you have a right triangle, you can use your trig here. And so I'm going to label my X as my opposite because it's opposite from that 35 degrees. The 280 is going to be my adjacent. And so this tells me that I want to use tangent of 35 equals your opposite, which is X, over your adjacent, 280. So to solve this, all we have to do is multiply by 280 on each side. And now we can just put that into our calculator. Okay, so we're going to type in 280 tangent of 35, and we get 196. And let's see, the directions aren't written up there about how to round, but what I want you to do is, like we've been practicing, anytime you have a side length, round it to 3 decimal places. Anytime you have an angle, round it to the nearest degree. So 196.058, and our units here are feet. Okay, so I'll add those directions up here at the top. Sides to 3 decimal places, and angles would be the nearest degree. Okay, so there's number 1 worked out for you. If you have questions about it, or if I went too fast, just pause this video, rewind back to wherever you got lost, and watch it again. Also feel free to check with somebody else in class that might be able to help you, as long as you're working diligently, but you of course should be staying in your assigned seat primarily. Okay, so now we're going to go down to the next page, number 7, and this problem, the directions are up here at the top of the page before. Find the area of each regular polygon, round your answer to 3 decimal places. So trying to find this area on number 7, and because it's a regular polygon, we're going to end up using that formula, area equals 1/2 AP. You'll remember that P stands for perimeter, and the A stands for apothem. So the apothem here goes from the center down to one side, and it's going to make a right angle with that side. And so the way we started these problems was by drawing in that triangle, and we've got to figure out the measure of this angle at the top. And so to do that, we would take 360 for the full circle and divide it by however many sides we have. So if we count up our sides here, starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 sides. So we're going to do 360 divided by 10. And that would give us 36 degrees. And remember, 36 is really one of these bigger triangles. Be 36. You could draw them over and over again if you want, but you don't really need to. The key thing we need to remember is the triangle, the right triangle that we have is actually half of that. So 36 divided by 2, and that gives you 18 degrees. Okay, so I'm just going to draw my little arrow to show that it goes inside the triangle right there, 18 degrees. Okay, from here, I like to redraw the triangle so that I have some more space to be able to label it. So here's my 18 degrees. And I definitely don't know the apothem. I'm going to need to find that. So let me label my A over here on that vertical side. So the piece that I haven't used yet is that perimeter of 30 centimeters. So we know perimeter is all the way around the shape. So we want to take that 30 and divide it by the number of sides that we have, which is 10. And that tells me that each side is 3 centimeters. Okay, and you could keep going all the way around if you wanted. But the key thing that I want to focus on is this right triangle that we have redrawn. We know that it's 3 for the whole length of the bigger triangle, and so this right triangle would be half of that, so it would be 1.5 centimeters. So down here on my triangle where I redrew it, I want to label 1.5 on the bottom. So these problems almost always use tangent, and this is true in this case as well because we have opposite and adjacent. So we're going to set up tangent of 18 equals that 1.5 over our A, the apothem. So to solve this, remember when you have a variable in the bottom, you have to first get it out of the bottom. So we're going to multiply by A, and that's going to cancel on the bottom. So now we have A times tangent of 18 equals 1.5. Then I want to divide by tangent of 18. And so now our A we're just going to put into the calculator. So this is 1.5 divided by tangent of 18. And so for A we get 4.616525,306. Remember we talked about precision here, and we want to try to keep our answers as precise as possible. So that's why I'm putting a lot of decimal places on this one. And then at the end is when I will round down to just 3 decimal places. So now I have all those pieces for my area formula that we talked about up here at the top, 1/2 A times P. So now I'm going to plug into that formula. So area equals 1/2, and then there's that apothem number, 4.616, and I'm just going to put a ... instead of rewriting the rest of that number. And then times the perimeter, which they gave us at the very beginning, that was the 30. So now as we type this into our calculator, if you still have that 4.616 number that you just put into your calculator, you can just hit times 30 and times 1/2 or 0.5. And we'll see that our area is 69.24, and it's going to round to 8. Okay, on my calculator it actually says 69.24787959. So I'm only going to 3 decimal places, and this 8 that's right after it is making that 7 round up. So 69.248, and our units are centimeters. Remember, anytime we're talking about area, it would be centimeters squared. So here's our final answer. 69.248 centimeters squared. Okay, at this point I'm going to stop this video to try to make them the videos a little shorter in case we put them on YouTube. So I've done so far number 1 and number 7. On the next video, or maybe next couple videos, I'm also going to work out number 8 and 14 and 17, as well as 22.